I rode a BikeMS.
We gotta go!
Can't stop, addicted to the shindig. Chop, chop, it says I'm gonna win big.
If you're unfamiliar with BikeMS, you have to ride at least 150 miles on your bicycle, and you also have to raise at least $200 in the name of MS research. Now, last year was supposed to be my first BikeMS, but a mini monsoon prevented that from happening. Yeah, I was a little bummed, but I knew that I'd ride again, which brings us to 2019. And my original plan was just to shoot and edit video of the ride and only the ride, but I quickly realized that'd be impossible. The main reason? Camera failures. And that's why I decided I had to sit in and narrate this video, because if I didn't, it would come off as a bunch of random clips just spliced together. You know, a little bit like amnesiac Jason Bourne trying to piece together things, just minus explosions.
I don't know who I am. I don't know where I'm going.
This year started out bright and early.
We're about an hour out from going to Republic Middle School, where we will be pushing off. And as you can see, it's 5:12. 5:15 rather, I can't even count.
The next hour and a half flew by. I packed, loaded up my bike, drove to the starting line where I met my team, the Dirty Dozen, and that's where we took a group photo as seen here. Then I had some breakfast, aired up the tires, dropped off my backpack for luggage, and the rest, it just all happened quickly.
We gotta go!
I originally had a GoPro strapped across my chest, and the plan was to get some shots of just cycling down the road, you know, just the beauty shots. But I quickly gave up on that whenever the GoPro was not wanting to record anything past 2 seconds long. Now, I stopped off at the first rest stop, even though I didn't really need to, because I was feeling good and energized, but I had to meet a few familiar faces.
Guys, guess who I'm with?
I know
Brian the Priest.
There I scarfed down a banana and I was off. Everything just kind of seemed like a blur because it was happening so fast and I was just caught up in the moment. So I was an hour into the ride and we got cows.
He said we might have cattle.
Cattle crossing.
Good job, Chris.
Oh my gosh, and look at those babies.
Where's the cows at?
Here's a straggler. Here's a straggler.
Come on, you old heifer.
Dare I say she was milking it?
When she said cattle, now we know.
Up to this point, I set a great pace. I was traveling at about 16.6 miles per hour on average, maybe a little bit faster, but I stopped to rehydrate, refuel, and snap a few pics of some flowers along rest stop 2. I'm a huge fan of Stephen King, and I was pleasantly surprised to see the good folks of southern Missouri trying to set the scene.
30 miles in, you got children in the corn on the right.
Cyclists were starting to speed up or slow down, find their pace. And meanwhile, I was burning off some of my excess energy by shooting video.
This shout out goes to my Aunt Cindy and Uncle Dennis. Thank you guys very much for donating and encouraging me. Cheers.
I'm used to running and gunning, but now this is cycling and shooting.
Yo, yo, yo. Let's go with another shout out. This one coming to you, Stacy T. Thank you very much for your generous donation. Now if you could just help me get up this hill.
Now 2.5 hours into the ride, I decided to stop a little longer at the next rest stop. That way I could stretch my legs and relax. Little did I know, I needed it for what was in store.
We're on a rocky road right now, and we are almost 40 miles into this. That means 60 miles left for day 1.
Once you get into cycling, you realize that you probably took road signs for granted before.
Here we go, 22 miles. But I got 52.
A grueling climb up a hill in Sarcoxie, Missouri led to a tasty lunch.
Carbs.
And that was the first time I was able to catch up with my buddy Dustin Pruitt, aka DP, since the start of the ride.
We're almost halfway.
Heck
I mean,
yeah,
it's
man.
actually
More than
2/3.
halfway.
Yeah, it's 2/3 for the traditional ride.
That's right,
How
man.
you feeling?
Feeling good.
Awesome.
Lunch seemed like a great idea until it wasn't.
Just after lunch, it's kind of setting into my stomach a little bit. It's weird feeling. Hopefully it's not a bad one. But currently on smooth roads. Let go.
At least a milestone wasn't far behind.
Officially halfway there.
Then a few minutes later, the turnout for the Century Ride, or the Ride 400 Miles, came much sooner than I expected.
There's a turnout back there. And I hope this is the 100 path.
I felt really lost, but tried to make the most of it.
I thought this would be the perfect time to give a shout out to Spencer Ernst, since I thought I was lost a few minutes ago, but I am now found. Okie dokie. I figured I'd say that since I'm on the way to Oklahoma.
I was feeling fine on the first rest stop for the Century, but once the sun came up overhead and it was exposing my every pedal, I felt it. I really felt it. The struggle continued.
Yeah.
That made the next rest stop amazing. And as you can see here, it was the first Donuts rest stop. The best part, shaved ice. That came at the right time. I'd hoped that stopping a little bit there, cooling down, getting some water, and drinking some pickle juice shots, several, would have helped with something I've never experienced before, and that was cramps in my side. I didn't have any in my legs. I had to do one thing and one thing only. Pedal down, baby.
Almost 16 miles left and day one. So, that's the distance. If you ride the Frisco Trail at the Springfield Trailhead to the end of the pavement and back. So with that being the case, I know someone who loves doing that. My soul sister cyclist, Cindy B. This is a shout out to you. Thank you, Cindy, for donating.
The final rest stop was next, and wow.
Yeah. Wow.
I had to keep going. The finish line was so close.
We made it, fam.
Crossing that, man, I felt
The finish
drained
line.
and relieved.
Day one!
I took it all in. I sat down. I was chugging water, and I decided to chat with a few cyclists and a few volunteers, and I won a raffle.
I'm here with someone at the finish line for BikeMS. It's none other than...
George Stephanopoulos.
What? That's another Dupree sighting. Anything you want to say?
Yes.
What's
This is
that?
my twin brother.
You're right. So Brian's actually mad at me. Why are you mad at me?
He took my Hooters gift certificate.
I took his Hooters.
Feeling like my energy had been restored little by little, I knew I had to end day one with a social.
I'm finished for the day. Saturday night. But I still have one last shout out. This one goes to Bobby. Oh.
The night passed pretty quickly, and then morning came. Then, once again, it was all just blur. Ate some breakfast, jumped on the shuttle, went back, and day two started.
Day two. Here we go.
I was feeling so great, I just bypassed the first rest stop of that day, and I stopped at the second rest stop where I waited a little bit longer, refueled, rehydrated, and that's where I met my buddy DP.
Woo! DP made it. So what's next? Downstream?
Yep, let's
You
do
want
it.
to you want to ride from here?
Let's go all in.
I had a surge of energy in the beginning, so I decided might as well just take advantage of this.
What do you get when you add Russell, Esperanza, Drake, Raquel, and Braxton? The Harringtons, of course. Thank you all for your kind and generous donation.
Early on in the ride, the only pain I felt was in my right knee, and it was coming and going, so it wasn't that bad.
We only have 55 5 miles left to go. Not bad, fam. Feeling good. We got a little bit of cloud coverage, makes it even better. Hopefully it sticks around, and with the current angle of the sun, dare I say that this shot looks lit.
Shortly after, the clouds dispersed and the heat began to rise. So I brought the heat tube.
This one goes out to someone who donated last year, and it means a lot to me. Cindy Dumas, thank you very much. Now let's try to get Drew out on a bike and out here next year.
The best way to take on hills, especially a series of them, is a little smack talk.
Rolling hills. All I can say is they trying to kill me, but I don't die.
Met with instant karma.
50 miles out.
That is the moment I started to lose my mind.
During parts of this ride, you get really slap happy and you just feel like breaking into song. Kind of like ba 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 Barbie, ba 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 Barbie, Barbie Kerrigan, come pick me up in a caravan. Barbie, this is a shout out to you. Thanks for donating.
But nearing the end, my adrenaline geared up.
I wanted to save the final shout out to my mother and father. Thank you guys very much for always supporting me, even whenever I seem a little off my rocker. Well, more than normal.
This is when I kicked it up a notch.
Single digits, baby. 9 miles. DP's right behind me over my shoulder there. Let's get it. 2 miles, baby. 2 miles.
Only to be stopped within yards of the finish line.
We're blocked. The finish line's there. Thanks, Joe.
As soon as we got the all clear,
there it is. Woo! I feel like a new man.
there you have it. My first century, my first BikeMS, my first video of BikeMS. I completed 183.8 miles in just 2 days. It seems exhaustive, it seems crazy, but it wasn't that bad. Just a few days after the ride, I had a little bit of soreness, nothing major. I want to thank each and every one of my donors. I had 9 of you donate this year. I greatly appreciate it. That means a lot to me, and even more to those battling MS, because all of your dollars went to MS research. Speaking of all of you who donated, you all will get a separate ride from me after this. Every dollar you donated, I'll bike a mile in your name. The other thing I want to thank deeply Hertz Donuts or the Dirty Dozen. That was my team this year. They welcomed me in with the training rides. They had several team meetups the night before, and they also partied hard on celebrating our conclusion to BikeMS. That was awesome to see you all there. And I also want to thank you for watching this. If you have thought about BikeMS, if you know someone who's talked about it, encourage them, just do it. It seems really daunting in the beginning, but if you train up, even if you just go for the ride itself, it's an experience. And the best part, you're helping people in the process. And that's all I've got for now. Just keep pedaling. Peace out, fam.